Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Monday Night Football Talk. I'm Joe Stevens here with my co-host Levi. What's going on, man? How's your weekend?
Oh, busy as always. How about yourself, Joe?
Same here. Just good Easter. Good Easter.
Oh, dude, man, I almost forgot it was Easter. Did you have some good food?
Yeah, it felt like Thanksgiving.
Yeah, same. I found earlier in the week, I found like a giant thing of ham, like 7+ pounds for like on the low, and hey, ham in. So I broke that thing down into like three different chunks and used part of it for Easter dinner, and I've still got pounds of ham sitting in the freezer now.
Well, I guess let's get into the news, huh?
I know it's definitely the slow season in football, but my Ravens finally made some type of move.
Yeah, one thing.
I mean, dude, I, I mean, so no matter what, with the signing of OBJ, Odell Beckham Jr. to the Ravens, I'd like to make this known. He's over 30 years old. We've always joked about the Ravens never sign a receiver till he's over 30 years old and past his prime. Basically 2 years removed from football at this point, right? I mean, last year had
Um,
the ACL injury, couldn't get signed,
yeah, I think it's about a
and
year.
then played limited in the playoffs the year before. But yeah, so it's been widely reported this has been a 1 year, like 15 million, $18 million deal. And I've seen a lot of sports reporters talk about it. And guys, we have it officially. It's not a 1 year deal. It's 1 year essentially, but it's a 5 year deal with 4 void years guaranteed. So here's the math on it. Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be a $3.9 million cap hit on the Ravens in 2023. Cool. That's great. We still have room to sign our draft class. Next year, no matter if he's on the Ravens or not, he's due $13.7 million as a cap hit without being on the team. And then every year after that, Odell almost another $3 million, all the way to 2027. The entire deal is fully guaranteed.
That's
I am.
something you want to give a 30-year-old receiver with injury issues, right?
I mean, I think this signifies one thing
That they're trying to get Lamar back.
that Lamar's not going to be traded, at least not yet. He's
Hmm.
not going to hold out either. Like he's going to sign his tag and play. I think the bar is going to be set at this. The Ravens are more than likely going to go over the cap for one season. With that being said, uh, it's basically going to be shut up or put up or shut up for Lamar. They're going to give him all the weapons, I think, here. We're monitoring. I don't know if you've seen about DeAndre Hopkins.
No. Oh, hey, what up, Nathan Z?
Oh,
No,
what up,
I
Nate?
did not. I didn't know they were in the running for him, but the Cardinals don't want much for him, really. I think they're just trying to get rid of his contract, right? So
The thing is, they're kind of being blackballed a little bit. He wants out. He doesn't want to play. And the trade, what the team wants for him and what teams are willing to give him while also having to rework his deal. There's been a lot of speculation he's going to be a release candidate post June.
that would be awesome.
And so it's going to be an open bidding war. Baltimore's tried, they've had the talks with Arizona, but between basically, it was kind of funny. Everyone was calling with that we couldn't have the draft pick, so we were offering a player. Everyone thought it was going to be a Chuck Clark, who of course got traded to the Jets. I made it public, and I'm still calling it. It was Tyus Bowser, our outside linebacker, due like $6 million this year. So it's one of those ones. If we cut or trade him, we're going to save $6 million. I love the dude, but I think he's going to be one of those guys. Probably gets cut to make a little extra room.
Hmm. No, I got you. Yeah, it was just so random that the Ravens signed Odell Beckham.
I mean, so it makes a little bit of sense. So we've talked about on the show a little bit about our offensive coordinator for the Ravens, Todd Monken, that we hired, because we talked about him
Hmm.
bringing in Stetson Bennett. So Todd Monken actually, what was it, 2019? Let me make sure here. He used to be the offensive coordinator for the Browns at one point. And basically Beckham had his best years in Cleveland, while Todd Monken was his offensive
Mhm.
coordinator. So again, it makes a lot of sense in that regard to bring OBJ in because he probably knows what he's looking for, like route wise. But I think Baltimore.
Yeah, I just don't understand because in the free agent market, there's Kenny Galladay. I was looking earlier. It was Kenny Galladay, Robbie Anderson, N'Keal Harry, guys like that. I just don't understand why you give Odell that much money when you can have those other guys for cheaper. And I feel like they might produce just as much.
Honestly, so Kenny Galladay, of course, Baltimore gave him an offer a year or two ago before he signed with New York. And then of course he did not produce in New York. N'Keal Harry's I kind of like N'Keal, but I've always wondered why he struggled. I've got a friend that's a big Patriots fans, and he was even high on N'Keal. So I like the N'Keal. Who was the other one?
Robbie Anderson.
Yeah, I don't like Robbie Anderson. That's like an almost Antonio Brown for me. I'd avoid him at all costs. But N'Keal Harry, I kind of agree with that one. You could have probably got N'Keal Harry for that price. Or I'm sorry, way less than that.
Way less. Yeah, I just don't understand. What is
I think it was just a thing for Lamar.
What is Odell shown that anybody else hasn't that's still available? And also, what up, Bryant? How you doing?
I mean, case in point, we talked about it. In 2019, Todd Monken was the offensive coordinator in Cleveland as well. That was actually Odell's last 1,000-yard season. But he only had 4 TDs.
Yeah, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me other than, like you said, Lamar wants Odell, but
I see it all as a 1-year rental. Basically, I think the Ravens know they're kind of stuck going this franchise tag route. Like I've said, Lamar wants to do back-to-back franchise tags, then get the long-term deal done if he absolutely could. But I mean,
the Ravens are a team I could see trading for Hopkins now that you say it on the second day of the draft.
We need draft ammo. We only have 5 picks currently. Our GM, though, he did say like we've loaded up in the past years, so we don't need as many now. But I don't buy it. Like,
it's always good to have that youth coming in. And
I mean, that's our mold. We don't get free agents.
I don't know if you saw on
OBJ won me $500 for the first touchdown in Super Bowl. Congrats on that, Steve-O.
I don't know if you saw they had a big salary cap guy on Ryan's show on Friday. First thing.
I did not actually.
He's going to be on Bryant's show on Saturday. So if you have any questions about anything, if you don't understand, like he has a website for the 49ers cap and the Minnesota Vikings cap salary cap.
Okay.
Like he's really good at it.
I have to see him watch that for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, it just didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Just the Odell Beckham Jr. Oh yeah, Bryant put his name up right there.
Jason Hurley. Man, that name sounds really familiar.
He used to sell T-shirts and Zoomies. I'm kidding. Hurley.
My brain's like, I wonder if he did anything for Russell Street Report. They're a big Baltimore Ravens writer. I talked to the guy that runs it. His name's Tony Labardi. And I talked about actually being like featured on his site if I wrote articles basically. But I don't know. But
yeah, so I guess you think that Lamar's coming back, OBJ's wide receiver number 1.
Rashad Bateman's number 2 for sure.
Yeah, but Andrews, I like Likely a lot on your guys' team.
Oh yeah, the CCU kid, Chanticleer.
Yeah.
And of course we lost. So we actually last year drafted Charlie Kolar, big like 6'7" tight end, actually before Likely. But he had an injury in training camp, so we lost him for the entire year, basically. So we're getting him back. Then we have Andrews. Then we have Likely as well. So I'm very excited for that young tight end core. But like I said, I think Baltimore's still going to go find a wide receiver high in this draft, potentially round 1 or 2.
Bro, so I don't know if you're on NFL Twitter much right now, but it's so boring.
I'm literally like checking what's trending right now. I saw Trey Lance was trending.
So for some
Famous
reason,
one.
everything that any player tweets right now, it's April. Is the draft is what, 3 weeks away, 2.5 weeks away.
Yeah, basically.
Free agency is basically dead right now. So anything that a player tweets. So Stephon Diggs tweets so with a bunch of dots afterwards, right? And people are going, OMG, Stephon Diggs to Dallas, Stephon Diggs to Miami. 1 minute later, he tweets. So everyone's going crazy. This is basically moral of the story is this is how the offseason is right now.
Literally.
Like 30 seconds later, he tweets, people who drink something while food already in their mouth are crazy. And people are like, okay, so he means absolutely nothing by his tweet, But everybody's looking for like a cryptic message inside tweets right now. So
They really are.
and I don't really like it.
And everyone's throwing smoke screens. It's pre-draft.
Yeah, so I don't know. Jalen Carter's visiting the Hawks tomorrow. I don't know if you saw that.
I've been meaning to look at all the draft visits.
Yeah, so Jalen Carter's coming tomorrow, and I think I've talked to you about this before. If there's anybody that can kind of get the most out of a player that's having off the field issues, it's probably Pete Carroll. He's done it, but time and time again. So
Change of
maybe
culture for him would be good.
he's a player. Even if we trade back and he's still on the board at 7-8, that'd be an awesome pickup.
That's a steal. He's a top 5 talent for sure. Like,
Yeah, just watching, not the combine or the pro day. Like I said, the pro day is what really irritates me because he was so out of shape. But just watching his film, I mean, he's a monster. And if he's there at 5 and just him at 5, I won't have a problem with them taking him.
I'm trying to figure out why Rashad Bateman's trending on Twitter so much as well.
I don't know. For me, it said Russell Wilson was trending on Twitter. I was going to see what his dumbass did, but I didn't.
Trey Lance is too on mine.
Yeah.
I guess maybe because he dropped in on Patrick Mahomes' like camp or whatever it is.
Yeah, I guess they've been training together. All the 6-team. Oh yeah, so there's 6.
Oh, they're making fun of his hair. Yo, his hairline is messed up, bro. Have you seen that?
Who's
Trey Lance.
Levi. So I guess 6 teams are looking to trade up to the 3rd pick or contact.
I have seen a lot of talks about pick 3 and 4.
So if you think about that, right? Like we said before, say quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then at number 5, the Seahawks have anybody they could take.
Which is a dream come true.
Now, so I just want to know, out of your anybody besides a quarterback, who would you take at number 5?
Oh, I mean, for me, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, it's just they are the top players in this draft. Like, no questions asked. Honestly, you could say they're kind of better than quarterbacks potentially, but it just depends what, because like I said, on the offense, quarterback's going to win you the Super Bowl. On defense, pass rush wins you the Super Bowl. I like the idea of Jalen Carter being able to push more from the inside, so I'd have to lean towards Jalen Carter. Of course, again, the pro day, the whole arrest warrant, but I think it looks all good, so I'd be comfortable taking Jalen Carter at 5. I in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you could trade back and get him, that's great, but I don't know.
That's more what I'm kind of hoping he falls.
Let me take a look here at something.
He's one of those guys where I could see him going at number 3, but I could also see him going at 15.
Exactly. I mean, supposedly he ain't talking to teams out of the top 10, but
and that could push him farther down the draft board. That's what I mean.
Case in point, Chicago and Philly sitting at 9 and 10 would be absolutely ecstatic. See, the thing is, like looking most draft trade charts, basically after those top 3 picks, the value of the pick drops dramatically. So the very first pick on a lot of draft trade charts is valued at 3,000 points. Number 2 is 2,600. Number 3 is 2,200. So drops of like 400 each. Number 4 gets to 1,800. So still a drop of 400. But every pick after that is only a drop of 100 or 50, basically. So I should say outside of top 4, the value of the pick drops dramatically. So like you trading from 5 to like maybe 9 with Chicago, nets you 350. That's basically maybe worth a third and a fourth. Whereas, man, if you had 4th pick or 5th pick, or I'm sorry, 3rd pick, like we saw how that much they got that 1st pick. That's an example of that draft trade chart working. How much they got for that 1st round pick or the 1st overall pick from Carolina.
Well, I don't know. The closer I get to the draft, the more nervous I get, but the more comfortable I am almost with them taking Anthony Richardson at number 5. I know I've been saying I don't want to happen. I don't want to happen. But if there's one team where it could work and him sit behind Geno Smith for a year, we're the team to do it.
When is your 2nd first-round pick?
20.
See, I could see 20 being the one. Especially if once he drops out of the top 5, there's no question he's either late round 1st or early 2nd. With that in mind, you'd probably have to keep an eye on teams like the Saints. It's one of those ones, how tightly could the Seahawks keep that to their chest that they want Richardson? You know what I mean? Because if everyone knows it, everyone's going to be like, shit, we got to get ahead of pick 20. We got to get ahead of pick 20
well,
again.
They've been saying it the whole time. I think they're trying to get somebody to trade up to 3.
I mean, him and Hooker, I feel like would be great developmental prospects.
That's why I think Hooker, I like DTR from UCLA.
He's got good potential.
Yeah, you know what? If Geno has to be here for 3 years before we find our guy, at least we got somebody to bridge between him and the next guy. But if we can get a total game changer, if I've told people before, if we pick nothing but front 7 and offensive linemen this draft, I won't be angry. But I won't be mad at all because that's where you build your team.
And that's what I would do. I would just take every pick and swing for the position, the skilled positions. Yes, you might be looking for a quarterback, but you've still got 2 more years on Geno's deal where you're still paying him. Because how many? It's 3 years total, or
4? 3 years, $75 million.
So even after this year, that's what I'm saying. You still got 2 more years on that deal to go find your guy.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see a high run on quarterbacks next year with like Caleb Williams and such. So again, you might be able to find someone that's fallen in the 1st round next year. I could totally see the Seahawks again if the quarterbacks go quickly. And let's say they're really not sold on those guys, they could trade that pick potentially for like I don't know. I like what the Philadelphia Eagles do when they've been trading one of their 1st round picks every year for future 1st round picks.
I like that too. I really like that.
And just garnering all those extra round picks, basically. Like they're basically flipping a 1st round pick a year in advance for like 3, later day picks, which is a great model in my opinion. Once you have the extra pick.
No, I really like that. Another thing that I was thinking was, okay, we get Jalen Carter or Will Anderson at number 5, and then at number 20, we could go Nolan Smith, Miles Murphy, there's a guy from I think it's Iowa State. Will
Vander what or God, I know who you're talking about. McDonald, he looked good in the drills, honestly.
But yeah, so I just think if we could really get 2 first-round picks on that D line, that'd be scary, especially with Jamal Adams. And look at who we're competing.
I've seen a lot of hype about Jamal Adams, actually.
Don't believe it.
I know. I think though he's going to be I think he's going to move down to almost try to play like a big linebacker for y'all, from my understanding.
Yeah, he'll be kind of a rover, right? Like he'll just kind of
follow tight ends.
Yeah, well, he sucks in coverage. I just don't. I'm sorry. I don't
like Jamal.
But look at our competition in division when it comes to offensive and defensive line. I mean, we have the 49ers to chase, and that's who we're trying to catch up with. And I think we could really do it all in this one draft. I really do.
Yep. And
It's,
I like the idea of going. What if again? Let me throw you a hypothetical. So let's say you take Anderson number 5.
yeah, that'd be sweet. It's
How?
easy.
Let's say the Pouncey kid, from Pittsburgh, the Aaron
Oh,
Donald lookalike.
Clancy?
Yeah, Clancy. Let's say he fell and he's sitting there at 20. Would you take him at 20?
Yeah, because I think he's so I think Tyree Wilson is kind of Will Anderson B, plan B to Will Anderson. I think Clancy is kind of plan B to Jalen Carter.
I'd see that. I'm trying to see where they've got him ranked on their latest big board.
Who, Clancy?
Yeah, they had
Or-
someone released like a top 200.
I think he was like 12, maybe something like that. But keep in mind there are teams that are going to reach because I think no
That's why I'm
matter
looking at there. It's not the mock draft; it's the top 100 prospects. So, case point, they have Will Anderson as the number 1 prospect, technically.
Mhm.
So,
Which I mean, just by the tape, I think Jalen Carter should be the number 1 prospect. But if it wasn't for all that off the field stuff, I really think he would be the number 1 prospect. I mean, geez, you look at him at Georgia. I mean, out of all those players, even his tape from last year, all those players that got picked in the first round of last year's draft and did pretty well in the NFL, he stood out.
Oh, dude, I remember when I first started watching the tape on Georgia, I was actually watching Will Anderson's tape. And then I saw this guy flying around on Georgia's team. And I was like, yo, that is one jacked linebacker. But I was like, yo, he's throwing D line. That's a linebacker playing D tackle. Of course, I had to look it up. I was like, oh, that's Jalen. That explains why everyone's so hyped on. And of course, then I watched the tape and I was like, bro, that is a 300-pound man that literally is so toned he looks like a linebacker.
Yeah, well, I guess a lot of people watching Trayvon Walker's film last year for the draft, right? Were like, whoa, who's number 88? And it's Jalen Carter. But another Carter I wanted to kind of talk about, I think that Andre Carter is his name. He's from Army. He's another edge guy.
Oh, yeah. You talked about him once before, actually.
Yeah, I could see him being a good fit here. I could just this D line is so deep this draft class. I think if you just, like I said, if we have 4 picks in the first 2 rounds. If they were just to throw shit at the wall and see what sticks on those first 4 picks, why not?
Actually, where is it? Trying to find. I saw Baltimore had another person visit. We had Ohio State Jackson Smith-Njigba visit. But we also brought in a guy named Julius Brents, a Kansas State cornerback.
Like a day 3 guy? I haven't heard of him.
Yeah, I'm actually looking into now. 6'3", 198. Okay, I like his size. Really long arms, too.
That's Sauce. That's the same size as Sauce Gardner.
He ran 4.3, so not a blazing 40. Looks like decent splits, though. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Guy. Interesting, though. That's not really our type.
I just hope, I hope they go D lineman. Maybe another thing I could see the Seahawks doing is freaking taking like the top corner in the draft, trading back a couple spots and taking like Devin Witherspoon or Christian Gonzalez.
If they're sitting there, man, for real, I would.
Because nobody's talking about him, right? Nobody's talking about him going to the Seahawks, and it seems like that's what the Seahawks always do. They kind of just pick the guy that's not being talked about.
I mean, that's just like Baltimore, like last year with Kyle Hamilton. Everyone talked about us trading up. Kyle Hamilton might be a top 5 pick, yada, yada, yada. Baltimore sat there, watched all the quarterbacks go, watched all these people trade up. All of a sudden, a top 5 pick potentially sitting there at 14. And they're like, yeah, we're going to do this. And of course, he played fantastic later in the year for us.
Yeah. So
I could see, although kind of Baltimore has this approach when we had our 2 first-round picks. You take one guy that's like for sure certain, which would be maybe like Will Anderson, for example. And then with your second pick, like you were kind of talking about, the Nolan Smith, like someone whose measurables are through the roof, like high upside, Worst case, you get an average player,
Mm-hmm.
But there is, I feel like, a little more bust potential. But, I mean,
Well,
shoot your shot.
that's what I think the difference between Will Anderson and Jalen Carter are. Obviously, they play a different position. They both play on the D line. One's on the edge, one's interior. But Jalen Carter has the potential to be the next Aaron Donald. But I don't see Will Anderson having the potential to be the next Khalil Mack. But I see him having the potential to be a Pro Bowler every year, but not an All Pro every year. Where I see that Jalen Carter, if everything goes right, he could be an All Pro player all year, or 5 years in a row. Where I could see Will Anderson being a Pro Bowler 5 years in a row, if that makes sense.
I feel you on that. I agree. I'm pulling up. I'm looking. I found walterfootball.com. They're a really good source for some stuff. I don't know if you've ever used them. They've got a really good tracker on every person, every visit for every team. So I was looking for your private workout or private visit. I got to look at their acronyms.
I know the Seahawks brought the only two huge names I know they got on a private visit are Jalen Carter and Anthony Richardson.
I got some other names for you. One of the names I've mentioned to your Seahawks, I think, before, Adetomiwa Adebawore, the defensive end out of Northwestern. Again, a combine blew it out the water. Defensive lineman running 4.5 40. I think at 290 pounds. So he's kind of can play inside or outside as an edge. He's listed as a defensive end. See, this is what I love. It has all your smaller guys, and these might be your later round picks.
That's kind of the list I was looking at too, because a lot of the guys I never heard of before.
Mm-hmm.
So
wow, y'all brought Levison for a visit, private workout.
Yeah,
no, you went to pro. Or is that pro? I'm sorry, that's pro. I'm sorry.
Oh,
you
the pro day.
Though. Yeah, you went to his pro day though.
Yeah, they actually made it to C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young.
But Richardson did get the private workout though.
And I think that's just a smokescreen, unless they're making it so obvious that it's just a smokescreen that it's actually not.
Case in point, bringing in Bryce Young. Y'all brought it. Y'all went to Bryce Young's pro day and CJ Stroud's pro day for what?
Smokescreen season. I don't know.
Do what? All right, let me put this to you. What if Stroud was somehow sitting there at 5? By some miracle.
Oh, you take him, but he's going number 1.
I think so too.
Yeah, I mean that's just all
right. Let's move on then. Bryce Young at 5.
That's dumb too. The top 2 teams are taking a quarterback.
I'm just saying, dude. You never know. Case in point, Oakland Raiders. Levy's at 3. I mean, at 5.
To the Seahawks?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. I was trying to find where the line was drawn. I know your thoughts on Richardson already.
I don't like him, but I like him more than Levis. We got a Seahawk fan here, Eric Wallace. If you got any questions, especially about the draft, Levi's kind of our insider, the insider of insiders. Levi is.
I sent another email to the Baltimore Ravens today, actually, about joining their scouting department, because I sent an email. I got a generic response, and I was like, per my, basically last email, guys, didn't really answer my questions. Reaching out again. I actually reached out to YouTube too, trying to get Grossi a deal, man.
But yeah, man. What do you see the Ravens doing? Like you said, Jackson Smith and Jiba came in. I don't know if I trust him just because he played one game last year and had 43.
And that's what I'm saying. Now, don't be wrong, dude. When you look at him on tape, it is very clear, his twitchiness, his speed. But I'm with you on that, dude. I'm so terrified of the injury. Baltimore does not have a good history of this with wide receivers and injuries. Bateman's getting screwed out of his foot. But I definitely see us going for a wide receiver. And it's one of those ones. He's a top 10 talent, in my opinion. But if he's there at 20, Baltimore takes him. Absolutely.
Who are the other ones right now that Baltimore could be looking at?
Jalen Hyatt. I've seen mocked in some in the second round, actually, because I see Jalen Hyatt falling out of the first round. Quentin Johnson's been very popular to the Ravens just because they're big. Say what? TCU, yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one I was thinking of. I could see
Yeah.
him being kind of a fit there.
Yeah, big 6'3" guy, which we kind of need a bigger jump ball guy, and he's kind of specializes in that a little bit. We've got enough small. We have Devin Duvernay, James Prochet, and Tylen Wallace. They are all like 5'9", like barely 200 guys, slot kind of guys, you know. So we've got enough of those. We need big guys that can do it, you know. I'm very interested though, like looking at all the visits. The Ravens have had quite a bit of work done.
Eric, we just kind of talked about this just a little bit. It's such a crapshoot at 5. I think if Will Anderson's there at 5, you take him. I think if Jalen Carter's there, you think about taking him, but you're still looking at the potential to trade back.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's if somehow, some way it goes quarterback 1, 2, 3, 4, God, Will Anderson would be nice. It's just Jalen Carter on tape is such a game wrecker that you know that if he works out and Will Anderson doesn't, you're going to be kicking yourself for the next 10 years that you passed on Jalen Carter and took Will Anderson. But then again, vice versa. Say Jalen Carter is one of the biggest busts. We're not used to picking high like this. So it's so weird to think about, like,
I'm trying to look at trade partners for y'all. Like, who would be interested in going to 5? I really think, like we talked about, quarterbacks 1, 2, 3, 4 really can happen. It really could.
Yeah, it's just so weird because we've been picking in the low 20s, mid to low 20s for 10 years, right? So now that we're up here at 5, the last time we were in the top 5 was 2009, and we got one of the biggest busts in Seahawks history in Aaron Curry, outside linebacker.
Oh, I remember Curry.
I think it was Wake Forest, either Wake Forest or Georgia Tech. I think it was Wake Forest. But it's just such a weird predicament to be in that I didn't understand what it was like to pick in the top 5, because in the back of your mind, you're like, God, what if we pass on this guy and he hits? Or what if we take this guy and he's all right, but the other guy hits? You know, you just don't want to bust, basically.
There's a lot more pressure to nail those. That's why GMs that end up usually with busts in the top like 5 picks usually don't last long.
Yeah, I don't know. But
I'm with you that the Ravens have eternally been just like you, picking like in the 20s.
Yeah, exactly, because you're in the playoffs every
Picking
year.
14 last year was like one of our highest picks in years.
And we picked 10 last year. That was our highest pick since 2012, maybe 2010. 2010. So then this year we're picking 5, and that's our highest pick since 2009. But what do you see the Seahawks doing at 5?
Man, all right. So Carolina, of course, going quarterback. Houston going quarterback. I really think Arizona trades and a quarterback goes there at 3.
I hope so. I hope that
whether it's Levis or Richardson.
Yeah, and then the Colts are going to take the leftover, I think.
So then the Colts got to get a quarterback. So like they're not moving out of that position. So that really could leave Seattle at 5 with every option in the book. So I'm like trying to see if you traded down even 3 spots. Let's say let me ask you as a Seahawks fans, and I'll ask Eric as well since he's in here. Would you feel, and Niner fans too, Brian, if you're still in here, if you were on the clock there at 5, Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson, and Carter, all 3 still on the board, could you trade down like 2 or 3 spots maybe? Are you comfortable basically with any of the 3?
Yeah, I am. I'm comfortable with Wilson. I'd feel comfortable with Wilson, and he's the 3rd worst. And that's why I had them taking over Carter last week in our mock draft, I think.
So let's see. I mean, but still, my question then becomes, I think you could dupe maybe like Vegas. So I'm like looking who could trade up without you going too far back. So Atlanta, Vegas, and Chicago. Could you maybe get Chicago to give? And so I'm looking at the draft. Like ideally, if I was Seattle, I would love to trade back 2 spots. basically still guaranteeing your guy. So 1, 2. So I would want to trade with Vegas is who I want to trade with, which is a
Yeah, they're at
200
7,
point
right?
value. So Vegas, that's basically you could swap from 5 to 7 and
Mhm.
grab a third.
You know what I'd love to do, honestly? Well, this is kind of just showing what a wuss I am about picking a bust.
Let's
I
hear
would
it.
love to move back to like 15 and take somebody's first round pick next year.
Let's see. 15. That would net you approximately, that's Green Bay's pick. I mean, 750 points, which is approximately the same value as the 23rd pick in the draft. So, I mean, if, case in point, I don't know, Green Bay wouldn't do it, but let's see.
16.
New England might. New England might at 14.
Yeah, I just think
Uh,
it'd be cool to, like you said, have 2 first round picks this year and then pick up a second first round pick next year. And then I don't know,
See, you could potentially, I mean,
have 4
very
first
small chance
for
that
years.
first pick of the second round, pick number 37, is worth apparently 530 points, which the last pick number 31, is worth 600.
Mm-hmm.
So you could package like pick 37 with maybe,
A 7, 6 rounder.
exactly something just to give it a little more value and take someone's late first round pick and still get 2 first round picks out
So
of this year.
I don't know if you know this or not, but in 2009, the Seahawks traded our second round pick for the Broncos 2010 first round pick. That pick ended up being number 12, and that was Earl Thomas. So I'd really like to do that. If that it's worked out in the history, right? Shout out Lawrence with platform 246. Bryant says he hopes the Niners don't trade up. Eric says, "Hey Levi, what would your Ravens do? I would strongly consider moving up just in case Jackson gets his way." He had his Ravens chain on today, man. Did you see him FaceTiming Odell with his big old Ravens
I did.
bling?
I did. I mean, that's been his game since the start to put pressure on the Ravens. But you know what? They did need to do something. The wide receiver market is scarce right now. And I still think I highly expect the Baltimore Ravens to take a first round wide receiver still. And if it's not first round, it'll be trade back into the second round and then taking like high second round. Someone that's like maybe like Jalen Hyatt, or if one of these other wide receivers like Johnson, or Jordan Addison from USC is slipping a little bit.
Sure, let's
Which
play
I've seen
GM
him.
right
I've
now.
seen him slipping a little bit.
Let's play GM right now. I'll be John Schneider. You be Ozzie Newsome, or the guy that
All
took
right.
over for him. All
Yep.
right, yeah,
EDC.
I'll give you pick number 37, and I'll take your first round pick next year. We'll call it a deal. See, that's what I want to do. I'll take the
Let me
Ravens
see.
first round pick next year.
I mean, and I'm telling you, Baltimore with only having 5 picks they want to trade down, but they really need a guy. So let's see here. Baltimore has, of course, pick 22, value 780. So there's a 250 point difference. So I would need like your third next year for that trade as well.
All right,
So your
deal.
second
No,
this year, your third next year, and I'll give you maybe like a fifth this year or something. Like something. I'll take let me see here. I'm trying to remember our exact picks.
Hey, also, Brian, if you're still here, pick this up from the card shop today, so we won't be running low on packs anytime soon.
But as Bryant said, best player available is usually Baltimore's draft strategy.
I think that's everybody's good team's draft strategy, right? Which
Yeah.
it seems like that's when the Seahawks started to falter, is when we started drafting for need instead of best available.
There's extra pressure to like take players that you don't really need, that you're just not sold on. Like, but I definitely see Baltimore trading back. I think Seattle might be a great candidate maybe for that. But regardless, I also see Baltimore being the team that everyone's staring at. If any of those, if Levis or Richardson's falling, Baltimore is immediately going to be the first team on everyone's radar at 22 to go get their quarterback to trade back into the first round for, because everyone knows
they made the playoffs last year. For some reason, I was thinking they were sitting around like 16, 17. But yeah, they made the playoffs last year, huh?
Yeah, we made the playoffs. It was one of those ones when everyone's like, "Oh my god, aren't you going to watch the game?" I was like, "Dude, I don't even want to make the playoffs." I was like, "I know we're not going to the Super Bowl with Huntley. I'm sorry, but I'm just realistic about it." I was like, I'd rather take the higher draft pick.
See, I knew we were going to get the crap beaten out of us by San Francisco, and we did. But just to say, well, I guess it's kind of a different situation, right? Because the Seahawks weren't supposed to do anything last year.
Mm-hmm.
Then some people had the Seahawks having one win on the season. So just to say that you're a playoff team the year after you trade Russell Wilson and you still get a top 5 pick, it's kind of all worth it just to move down those couple extra spots.
I'm telling you, if Richardson's there at 20, I think that's for y'all. I think that's a guaranteed at that point.
See, I wouldn't that one I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind him at 20. I don't want him at 5. If that
makes sense. I absolutely agree with you. From what I've seen on tape, the only other quarterback I would even consider a top 5. I actually kind of consider Levis. But from my understanding, I watched the Georgia tape. It looked pretty good,
Oh, Tony.
If you look at his other tapes, that's where I've heard he's inconsistent. So
I thought you were going to say Stetson Bennett in the first round.
God, no.
I was what are you talking about?
I'm realistic.
But yeah, when you said I've been watching Georgia's tape, I was like, oh my god. But yeah,
whenever I watched everyone, I watched basically everyone play Georgia, and Levis had some good tape
because they have men. They don't have boys. They have men, and
exactly.
And in the national championship game, I mean, that was probably the worst national championship game I've seen since I've been alive.
TCU should have never been there. I'm sorry. I love TCU, but it's one of those ones. I commend TCU's coaching so greatly because TCU is one of those ones. Like I told you, I got to be a coordinator for University of Arkansas.
One sec, guys. We got Levi trying to fix his headset here. Bumped it. But if you guys have anything in the chat, questions for Levi or me, don't be afraid to ask. Draft questions, free agency questions, hot takes. We do it all. Oh, you're muted, Levi. One sec.
There we go. I think we're back now.
Yeah, you're on.
I don't even remember what we were saying though.
Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, TCU offensive coordinator from Arkansas.
But, I got to meet some of these SEC teams. And I'm telling you, you see the difference even in like the bigger and smaller teams there. So like when you see TCU, the size difference, that again, like you said, that's Georgia got grown men playing football.
Mm-hmm.
And TCU, their coaching staff put their players in great positions. They scouted well for their program, and tagged off to them. But I think any of the other teams in there would have given us a better game.
Bryant wants to know if you see the Patriots drafting Moody from Michigan, the kicker.
Moody from Michigan, the kicker.
He's a huge special teams guy. That's Bryant. He might
okay.
He might be doing an inside job right now for the 49ers as a backup special teams coordinator, it appears. I've noticed.
It's one of those ones you got to always do your. So let's see. Made 100 promos, extra points, longest 59 on the season. That's pretty good. I don't know. I don't know if I'll ever be as high as on anyone as the kid we brought in to replace Cook for the Ravens. I'm having a blank on his name, which is horrible right now, but he's only been with us for a year. Penn State punter. Oh my God, it's going to drive me nuts now.
Do you remember that Penn State kicker that was fat and like he laid?
Dude, he was huge.
Sorry,
you're fine.
Totally off topic. But
no. We had a good guy, Jordan Stout. He actually sat out for a year and just held kicks. Basically, didn't do any kicking duties. Just held because in Baltimore, I don't know if you know this. In Baltimore, our backup quarterback is not the placeholder for the kicks. It's our punter.
No, nobody is anymore.
Baltimore started that with Sam Cook, all the way going back to Matt Stover, way back in the day.
I think the last quarterback to be a holder, honestly, was
you remember
Romo.
Tony Romo? I was about to say, you remember Romo?
When he fumbled the snap, I was there, yeah. That's the last time I remember a backup quarterback.
I swear some teams do, but I could be wrong on that.
But anyways, go ahead.
But yeah, he basically sat out a whole year. Basically, I don't know how, but he talked to our scouts before, and they were like, "Hey, you got to hold for Tucker if you're going to come here." And he spent a whole year just proving that he could hold kicks, basically. And we took him last year. I was very excited about him.
Yeah, I guess the Patriots have been rumored to take a kicker. I know that.
I'm trying to find anything on the kid, really.
Brian's thinking, so the 49ers have 11 draft picks, if I'm not mistaken. And what Bryant wants them to do is package all 11 for a first-round pick so they can have a kicker 5 years under a rookie contract.
I'm going to tell you right now.
I'm being a smart ass right now.
So, all right. First of all, I'm looking at his 2022 stats, 3 of 7 for 50 plus. That's not really what I want to see. So I learned this too. Whenever I was because I joked around about going kicking back in the NFL myself a little bit after watching that Dallas game. Kicking in college and kicking in the NFL is way harder. The goalposts are actually, I believe, smaller and harder to hit. So if he's struggling at 50 plus in college, he's going to struggle mightily in the NFL at 50 plus. It's one of those ones. If I'm going to draft a kicker, I expect him to hit 50 yarders at least.
But that's another thing. But that's another thing about evaluating college kickers that I always thought would be kind of hard, is that the hash marks are so much wider on a college field than a professional field. So that's another one. Like, what if he's kicking from the hash, right?
Yep. Goal.
And they have distracting sponsors on their nets. So, like Allstate.
Let's see here. Double checking myself on something, but.
On what?
I was just checking myself on something else, but I think I'm wrong about the goalposts. I think it's just the hash is the biggest difference. But I don't know. I'm trying to also find the other kickers for college football right now because I'm weird like that.
Yeah.
But man, the 49ers should be really excited, even though they don't have a first round pick, right? But they have their first picks total.
The only thing, their first pick is at number 99 overall.
Yeah, which is still a solid pick.
But the thing about the 49ers is their team is stacked. They don't have a first round pick, whatever. They don't have a second round pick, whatever. The Rams are the team that, is really making the Rams and the Cardinals are kind of making this division look like complete shit. Because I don't see any futures in those teams, in the Rams and Cardinals.
I got one for Brian here. If you're looking for a kicker, I mean, just looking straight at the numbers, one name, there's not enough attempts, but so let me put in stats. So Jake Moody had total of 35 attempts. He made 29. Solid, right? 10 of 10 from 30 to 39, 7 to 8 from 40 to 49. And like we mentioned, 3 of 7 from 50. There's a kicker I'm seeing here, Stanford. 18 of 18 made every kick. But again, he didn't. So check this. 30 to 39, he was 3 of 3. So didn't have as much as Jake Moody. But on 40 to 49, 10 of 10. Yo, 10 of 10 from 40 to 49, that's solid. And then he made 3 of 3 from 50. So he made every shot from 50. With that, and that's something I look for. Even when you don't have the attempts, can you still hit the kick? When you're not in your routine, when you're You know, you've been sitting on the sideline all game, and I need you to come in and hit one freaking kick for the entire game. That's what I'm looking for. That's someone. His name's Joshua Carty, Stanford. That's something who I look at, honestly. And like I said, that 10 of 10 stands out.
Hey, Eric, if you're still in here, sorry, I meant to ask you, what do you think we'll do at 5? Sorry, that was my
sorry.
No, I meant to ask him earlier, and I was like, God dang it. You know, I have
a tendency to rant too.
No, it's not you, it's all me. But yeah, anyways, what other news we got going on in the NFL?
I saw a crazy story. I didn't read it yet.
Is it real? Because
yes, it's on NFL.com. So supposedly, out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, earlier today, the Associated Press has reported it as well. So it's real news. The family of deceased Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Dwayne Haskins has filed a lawsuit against several people, businesses, and the state of Florida, claiming he was drugged, robbed, and extorted before he was fatally struck standing on a highway after running out of gas.
I did see that too.
Whoa, bombshell.
I didn't really read it, to be honest, but yeah, I saw something.
Supposedly, they said he was robbed by a man and 3 women in the hours before the incident. It happened at the Boca Raton Hotel at an upscale driving range, bar, and nightclub.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah, just sad. Just really sad.
Yeah,
nobody should lose their life at that young
exactly.
age.
We actually had just moved here, I think, to Florida when that happened, if I'm not mistaken.
And he was with the Steelers, right, when that happened, I think.
Yeah, he was going to be competing against Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett, basically, for that starting role. And supposedly he had a lot of hype building for him. He was down here in Florida working out with a lot of the wide receivers, and definitely very interesting. Yeah, I haven't watched tape on him, but I'm telling you, I immediately pulled up all the college kickers and just looking at first thing I did was pull up because I'm looking at 50 plus and looking at how good they can kick, and that name jumped off the chart for me.
I just get nervous with kickers too because it seems like in college. Do you remember that Roberto Aguayo for Tampa Bay? I think his name was. And boy, he just sucked. He was like a 3rd or 4th round pick and just couldn't. He just couldn't.
I'm fine with fourth and lower, honestly. Like for a kicker, we took Jordan out last year in the 4th.
It also depends where your picks are at too, right? Because say your first pick is in the 3rd round, you don't want to be wasting a 4th round pick, which is a higher pick for you, on a kicker. Well, I guess not wasting if he works.
Someone that fell out of that day 2, 2nd, 3rd round picks, basically, that somehow is in the 4th, and you're like, bro, how did he make it here? Because you had that early one.
Have you been hearing about anybody falling or moving up anybody's draft board in the last week? Because I really haven't heard a whole lot, other than Jalen Carter, the obvious, and Anthony Richardson. That news is kind of different. Go ahead.
I've just seen nothing but different opinions. Like no one really falling, but just everyone's got so many different opinions about these guys, like where they sit.
I don't know if you saw. I think we might have talked about it last week. Mike Tannenbaum put Hendon Hooker going 5th overall to the Seahawks. I was like, what is this guy smoking crack?
I know, right? Tannenbaum, he used to be Jets and Packers, wasn't he, at one point?
I thought just Jets. He might have been with the Packers at some point. I think the Packers
have been around.
Yeah, maybe he was helping with the Packers because I know the Packers forever was Ted Thompson and now Gutekunst or whatever. But yeah, so I don't know. I guess we'll see. This is the dead season where there's just so many rumors. Everybody wants to talk about football, but there's nothing going on with football, right? Which is kind of what we're doing. But I'll joke around and say some bullshit rumor, but I'm never going to be one of those people if you're watching to.
Doesn't Grossi have a series now dedicated to trying to start false rumors almost?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with him, but I I just know if you're watching right now, I'm never gonna say anything just for clicks or anything because I don't
I
like
agree.
people that do that.
I
It's
agree.
so just like whatever, dude. I was joking around with Ryan and Bryant on God, it might even been last night or maybe it was Friday or Saturday or Thursday. I don't know. But, I just start saying some ridiculous shit. And it's so crazy how everybody can tell I'm joking right now, right? When I say it like that, because I'll smile and nod. But when people do it over Twitter, nobody can tell if anybody's kidding. And then
Mhm.
people take that tweet, right, about like Aaron Aaron Rodgers or something like that, and then they'll tweet it, and then everybody else will see it, and it's just I
It's
don't
like
know.
a game of telephone. This guy says it, then this guy repeats it, but it's slightly different. Then this guy tells it, but it's slightly different. By the time it gets back around 10 times, it's like, whoa, where did this story even come from? Like,
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. What do
I
you
think it's
want to do?
interesting. Oh, I was
Oh,
gonna say,
go
I
ahead.
think it's very interesting. I was reading more about the Haskins thing. His family attorneys are supposedly going to be subpoenaing documents and stuff. Um, like I said, they supposedly he was at a bar, but before this all went down, where they said they were claiming that he was being extorted, like a blackmail and robbery conspiracy, apparently. In fact, his highly expensive watch was stolen from him shortly before his death, apparently. So supposedly he didn't have his really expensive watch on when he died. But according blah 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 blah. So his blood alcohol content was 0.20, 2.5 times the legal limit. According to the University of California, Davis, and other universities, someone of Haskins' weight would have had needed to drink at least 10 drinks in the hours before his death to reach that level. So he was like 10 drinks in going down the Florida highway, apparently, before he ran out of gas.
Oh, is that what happened? Because I
And then
thought
apparently he had ketamine in his system.
because I thought he was like I thought he was like at a gas station or something.
He was trying to go get gas. His car ran out of gas, so he was walking down the Florida highway trying to flag people down, but he had a gas can, I think, and he was trying to go get gas, and he got struck by a car. But supposedly ketamine was found in his system as well, which
I
is
don't
kind
know
of
anything about that stuff.
that's a horse tranquilizer, is what that is. That's a horse tranquilizer.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I hate hearing about this stuff because it's
but
just sad. You know what I mean? I never even liked Dwayne Haskins, but it's just sad.
and that's how I felt. I was never a big fan of him. I thought he had, it was one of those ones I'm like, I don't trust the Ohio State quarterbacks. Now, CJ Stroud has changed that tail on me a little bit.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
Exactly. Well, time will tell us. But I saw the Washington Commanders have settled officially in a lawsuit with the District of Columbia attorney over fans' season ticket deposit money. I'm guessing
Yeah,
probably with the whole turmoil.
bro, this
They,
guy's such a clown. I don't know how he still owns a team.
he's only having to pay fans $200,000 apparently, which is probably nothing. And supposedly he's going to pay $425,000 to the district to resolve allegations related to the. So he's paying more to the district than he's probably paying back to the people who probably gave him more than $200,000.
Yeah, I don't deal with that guy. I
Scam,
think he's
bro.
a scumbag.
Scam. I agree. Like,
Is there any top 10 list or anything you want to make next week?
I know. I'm been trying to think about like what I'm like trying to think. So what is next Monday? I'm excited to plan out. We got to plan out the draft here in the next upcoming weeks. So
I'll make a stream for it. I was kind of talking to Ryan about it. I think he's down to do it. I'm
you should
assuming.
figure out if you can because I know like you pre-plan yours a lot. I don't know if there's a way for me to like pre-plan mine that actually like would work correctly. You know what I mean? Like I could
Well,
plan it, but I don't know if it would link up correctly.
so I think what'll happen is I can share that link to the stream days in advance, right? So
Okay.
that link that I send you like 5 minutes before we go on, 10, 20 minutes before we go on,
Mhm.
we can always, I think we can do that far enough in advance to where everybody can start linking their streams up and then schedule schedule them, because I think we're going to want to do a cross stream on that one, so it'll be on everybody's channel.
I think that would be awesome to have us all like video and everything together for it.
And then I got a TV right here, but I'm going to actually change it to right here. That way I can just be like this.
I might do the same, honestly. I'm trying to figure out, because I don't have, see, my problem is also I don't have freaking cable, so I'm usually like pirating my streams, but I have dual monitors, and I could set up one of the TVs right above me, hook the Roku up to it so it's smart TV, and then actually cast to it as well.
Yeah.
Let me see. So the draft is technically the 27th. So we've got next week's stream on Monday, and then the following Monday, and then that Thursday is draft night.
Anybody in the chat, is there any top 10 lists you'd like to see next week? And then we'll probably do, obviously, the Monday after that, we'll definitely be doing more of an in-depth
like pre-draft. Yeah.
Probably the most in-depth mock draft we've done, just because that's going to be the big one before the draft. But if there's anything that anybody in the chat would like to see, just leave a comment, like a top 10 list. I always enjoy doing the top 10 lists. I think they're really fun, just because it gets your mind going about like stuff that's happened before, right?
Agreed. I think too on next Monday's on the 17th show, I might spend some time this week looking into the more into depth in those visits, and there's going to be more visits throughout the week. But trying to get a better idea of who some of these teams might be targeting late round. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that's where
I see the common interest.
That's where the Seahawks usually find their gems, right? A bunch of teams find their gems in the late rounds.
That's where
I've noticed that sustainable teams, that's where they really find a lot of their talent. So
my dream, see, it's like I told you, I wanted to do like all 254 players before the draft, but I'm a little behind on my deadline.
Yeah, a little bit.
I would love to successfully like call my, like if I had however many, like 10 picks, my 10 best players in the draft, 1, 2, 3, through 7, whatever, and wave that up every year, because we, even though they don't all go to your team, it's easy to see on some teams of how they're doing, who the breakout fourth round star is on what team, and I'm like, that would be my thing for me to like go into scouting if I could pull that off. And so that's why I want to take an in-depth look and try to predict these later round picks for not only hopefully my Ravens, but maybe the Seahawks and maybe the Niners as well.
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of Niners supporters that are
exactly
supporters of our channels.
I would be, dude, if one of them ever wants to come on this Monday night, I'd be very open to it.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, if they ever want to come on, we can just drop a link or whatever.
Yeah. You know them better than I do, so.
Yeah, but they're all really cool guys, all of them. So.
Yep, they are.
Before we get out of here, I want to give. Is there any streaming that you're going to be doing this week, or?
Not planned. I've got girlfriend's off the next 2 days, so we've got DMV and some other stuff we got to get done. I don't know. Then I don't know. I just got so much stuff going on. My brain's. I'm also, like I said, I'm working on getting back in school and everything as well. Do you got any streams coming up?
Wednesday I'll be doing my weekly NFC West kind of roundtable deal we do with Ryan from No Border Sports. Shout out Ryan. Okay. Brian, you can come on whenever you want. Just name the time.
Yeah, man, dude, you're welcome to come on and just talk, my guy.
If you want to come on right now, just let me know and I'll send you the link on Twitter. Like I don't care, Brian. Brian's a good guy. If
Brian comes on, I got to grab another drink. That's for sure.
Yeah. Brian's one of those guys. He's more than welcome in the channel anytime he wants. So
yeah.
Big shout out Brian Culp. And then Thursday, Corey got a little sick, so he's going to take the week off. I think we're doing trivia on Brian's channel this week. Possibly. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure. And then Friday.
What time are you doing your Wednesday? The Wednesday you're doing the roundabout thing, right?
Yeah, we'll be doing that at 6 p.m.
Okay, 6 p.m. That's 9 my time.
And it'll be on my channel this week. We flip-flop every week.
Okay.
So it'll be Ryan's channel the week after. So I
Try
think
to
that,
at the bare minimum drop into chat to come support.
yeah, for sure. So yeah, Bryant said I think he means possibly for the trivia. So
Okay.
my bad, Brian. I'm not trying to spread any misinformation there. I just thought that's a possibility. So I might try to be in for that, and then Friday night will be the call-in show. And then seriously, Saturday morning, check out Brian Colt's channel. He'll be having that cap guy on. Jason Hurley said his name was, and he came on.
What time was that supposed to be? Do you know? On Saturday?
9 a.m. here, so that'd be noon for you. No, sorry.
No,
Yeah,
that'd be
noon.
like no, wait.
Noon. Yeah, it'll be noon.
Okay, yeah.
You got it backwards.
I know.
Like, no, that'll be 6 in the morning.
Dude, I was like, damn, I gotta get up early. Why does God hate West Coast football?
Oh man, I love it.
Tosh made that joke.
I love getting up at 6 o'clock, headed to the stadium. Well, I'll get up at 6, get ready, and then leave the house by like 8.
Tosh made that joke about living in California a long time ago in his stand-up. He's like, man, come on, Pastor, kickoff's coming. You got to get out of church.
Yeah, it's but yeah, so, but yeah, man, that's about it. I don't know, Brian. What top 10 list do you think we should do next week? I know we've done diva wide receivers, and then what was the other one we did? Like worst free agent signings. Did we end up doing that or no? I can't remember.
I don't remember if we did. That might have been the week you weren't feeling good. Man, I'm also like looking over these free agent lists.
I know we did. Didn't we do worst trades or something like something?
I think we did. I feel like we did.
Because I know for a fact, if we did, I hate Russell.
All my days are blending together. Sadly. But okay, so there's Wednesday, Friday. Friday's 9 o'clock, right? As well, like PM.
No, it should be. I think he's doing it at 5 now.
Oh, 5. Okay.
Top 10 coaches, Bryant. Do you mean
Ooh,
right now or all time?
That's tough. Top coaches is a good one. See, that's one of those ones. There's going to be disagreements about my own team because I'm not high on Harbaugh.
Yeah, if it's right now, there definitely will be some disagreements on the Ravens because I think he's pretty damn good.
Controversy. Good talking points. I know. I was literally scouring today, just keeping an eye on who was trending. I almost forgot we signed Nelson Aguilar too. So forgot that we added him to that mix.
So Bryant wants to do top 10 coaches, I think, of all time.
Of all time, okay.
So, well, he said both, but we'll just do all time because there'll be some current coaches in there, I think.
Yeah.
In my unexpert opinion. Or we can do them separate. It don't matter. We could do top 10 in the league right now and then top 10 all time. It don't matter because I think we'll have enough time. So
I apologize. I've been slacking on it. I meant to get with you on topics for this podcast or stream tonight, and I didn't.
Oh, it's me too, dude. I haven't been feeling great lately. Well,
you got work, haven't been feeling good. You're going on tons of podcasts, man.
Well, last Friday I was like, dude, I don't know if I'm gonna go on there, and I felt like I was starting to get the flu, and then I went to bed and woke up the next day and I was fine. So thank God. I thought I was gonna get the flu. I was like, man.
I'm glad you didn't, though.
But yeah. Anyways, I think we're gonna peace out of here, don't you think? Or
yeah, I'm good to call tonight. Honestly, I'm super tired myself. I still haven't eaten much today, so I could call it easy tonight. But I'll be trying to come in as much as I can, and I'll be trying to stream, guys. We'll find out if I actually do.
Yeah. Well, like I said, make sure before we leave, go follow Bryant Culp, Eric Wallace. I don't know if he has a channel, but he pops in all the time. He's a Seahawks fan. Lawrence with Platform 246. That's that's a guy I know. One of your followers, AEW and WWE fan,
Yeah.
they would get along great because Lawrence does like he did like a WrestleMania live stream and stuff like that. He does stuff like that, and he also does 49ers content. And then Steve-O and Nathan Z. Make sure everybody go and support everybody. It's free. So
Eric Walls. I feel like I'm on the wrong profile here, Wallace. It's like a bunch of art.
But anyways, we hope all you guys have a great night, and I will see you Wednesday, and then Levi will see you Monday, possibly before that. So
we'll see. Later,
see you
guys.
guys.